Hey.
Hey, Benny.
Hey, Benny.
Okay, the dolls are here. I'm going to shut up now.
Me too.
Luke's here as well, Lala. Pete, Phil, Gecko, no Rachel, KOGs. Awesome. Got a full house. Luke, do you want to kick us off with some product stuff?
Yeah, I can do. I'm going to do a bit of a demo again in the Vault because some of this stuff is just better to see firsthand. But a brief summary of the highlights would be the skyboxes in the apartments, which have been spoiled a little bit. So what that means is you can actually share. Oh, sorry, you can actually change the background of the sky and the surroundings of the apartments. So they're not just the boring few clouds and blue background. You can actually make that into anything using AI. So they're not just predetermined backgrounds either. I know a lot of skyboxes in other games and things that are predetermined, but these are AI driven. So you can actually make anything you like, which is really cool. But we've been mucking around with that a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We've got mobile working in the arcade. So you can actually go in there. You can't participate in beer pong yet, but you can actually just walk around and play music and all that sort of stuff. At least you can go and watch people who are playing and talk to them. Obviously, that works the same way as the VR does now, where you can go in with your avatar. The other cool thing we've added in the arcade is we've got a couple of 2D games on the actual arcade boxes, so you can play real games on those boxes. As I said, they're just demos at the moment. We've got a couple of examples, but we'll work with the existing 2D games and get those built out a lot more and have a lot more variety in there. But that's a really cool starting point. There's a lot of other little things as well, like one cool thing is we can jump to experiences now, so you can go straight to the arcade or straight to Fear from the terminal menu. So that's a pretty cool feature. It doesn't sound like much, but that's actually that's really handy. That's something that we've wanted to have in there for a while, and it helps people discover obviously what's available as well. For a new person going in, they can get a list up of what's actually in there. So they're the main highlights. Anything I missed there, Gecko?
I think you've undersold how cool the continued theme of customization for scenes and backgrounds and all the rest of it actually is. I think once people start to really cotton on to the potential of just multiply this out to asset creation, to music creation, to content creation, and it becomes pretty scary pretty quickly, which is awesome in a good way.
Yeah, I think whatever I said would undersell it. You need to see it. It's completely different when you're actually in there and using it. And even this isn't going to sell it. Like seeing it being casted is not going to sell it. You need to really go in and experience it. Seeing it firsthand in 3D and happening before your eyes is amazing. The skybox stuff in this version that I've got still a little bit buggy, but if it's a little bit jerky or whatever, just bear with me. We've got a new version that was built today, which has got a much smoother experience, but that's still in testing. So if it's a little bit buggy when I'm changing these things, just bear with me. Right, I'm just getting it started up now. Just be 2 seconds.
I was just going to say something else you mentioned or didn't mention was that the mobile users will also be able to jump and crouch. So that's also going to happen. And then I was going to say exactly what Benny said. I think the customizing of the environment's definitely undersold. And even if you show it now, it's not the same as when you're standing there in VR and you're looking at it. It's ridiculously cool.
Yeah, this is something you need to see for yourself, but we'll give you a quick demo anyway. It's the next best thing, I guess. Apparently you're on Space Crack, Gecko. Didn't know that was a thing. I don't know. I didn't know space.
If you want a prompt request, I could definitely put one in.
Yeah, are we going to crowdsource these prompts tonight, or is that too risky?
Crowdsource.
Okay. All right. I think it looks like I've got the casting going. Just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to share my screen. Should be cooking. Let me know if there's any issues.
I think when people see this, they're gonna start to understand the value proposition of the different apartments as well.
All right. Can we see my screen? All right.
Yep.
Excuse me, I'm in my pajamas again, so I just my bunny slippers. All right. So the first thing I'll show, which is what I was just discussing before, is having the experiences in this terminal menu. We've got the naming in the list of districts as well, but for the experiences, we've actually got a menu where you can jump straight to these experiences, as you do with the apartments and everything else. But if I click on, say, arcade, that will just launch me straight in.
All we gotta do is make it that your avatar can progressively get fatter the more you teleport, because you're not running around anymore.
Space crack again. So these look like they did before, these boxes, but if you walk up close to them, you'll see there's a game that appears on it. So we've got Orb Rush and RFOX Run. I'm not very good at either of these, but I'll just give you a quick demo.
We expect nothing less than a new personal ask away.
I'm not even exactly sure what I'm supposed to do on this game, but to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, take your finger off the trigger on the bends.
Hey, mate?
To go around the bends cleanly, you have to take your hand off the trigger.
Okay, we'll just pretend I did that.
Yeah, all right.
All I saw was an Olympic level perfect performance there. I don't know what Phil's talking about.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. We've got RFOX Run as well.
Yeah.
Gotta keep my job.
Now was the Olympic level performance falling into the water. There we go. Perfect long jump.
I like how he turns at the very end when he knows what's going to happen. He just turns.
Oh, I think people get
He's
the
like,
idea.
nope, I'm not sticking around for people to see how bad I am.
So obviously, like I said, we'll build these out a bit more. And because I jumped to the arcade, you don't spawn outside of it. That's why that happened. But obviously, we'll build that out a little bit more. But we'll get a bit more variety in there and try and get some games that are really well suited to the VR controls as well. I mean, there have to be things that are adaptable for both mobile and VR too. So we need to really consider that.
What he's really saying is get some more games closer to his speed.
Yeah, games that I can play, even someone like me could play. That's what I'm saying.
RFOX Run is literally a one-button game. I don't know if you can get any less than that.
Yeah, whatever. Hilarious. Okay. So this is my apartment. See my ugly ceiling from last time is still there. And this is my New York style view. It kind of looks a bit more like Dubai, I think, but idea. So you can when you're actually in your apartment.
Head upstairs, Luke, and you could see the whole 360.
When you're actually in there, it's actually more effective. But when you're in the apartment looking out, but yeah, it is pretty cool when you get the full view.
Look up.
It's romantic. I might bring my girlfriend avatar in here and show the view.
Have you
You
tried
want me to
jumping?
jump now or what?
Okay, so to change this, it's in the AI menu now, like all the other stuff is. We've got a skybox changer option. Does anyone want to give me a prompt for something out there?
Outer
I
space.
really want to, but I'll let someone from the community do it.
What was that one?
First 25.
That's
Like-
not someone from the community. That's someone from hell. Ignore that person.
We'll ignore that person. Has anyone got a real one?
Yeah, what did Hando say earlier? Hando, could you repeat?
Actually getting slight vertigo by looking over here, which is cool.
A zombie apocalypse in a wild tropical forest.
Right, we're doing what do you want? Do you want surreal, fantasy, realistic? What do you want?
Highway
I
traffic.
definitely want. You can't do that. That's
Highway
surreal.
traffic. Oh, let's do highway traffic, but we'll do surreal. That turns out. Highway traffic.
That's like XP's life every day.
This could be interesting. Yeah. Surreal highway traffic.
Definitely run realistic for him because that's pretty much what he lives day in and day out.
The vault's supposed to be an escape. You're not supposed to replicate your actual life. These obviously take 30 seconds or so to generate. Well, here we go. That's interesting. Surreal, I'll give it that. If you don't like the view from a certain side of your apartment, you can just spin it around. If I want a bit different view, I want to look out over the mountains from this side, I can do that. Actually quite cool. We'll do yours now, Maka. We'll do fantasy, zombie apocalypse in a forest. This will be interesting.
Very curious to see if it actually gives you zombies, or if it's just going to be some kind of weird, creepy forest.
This highway traffic one, I'm not seeing much traffic. I'm definitely seeing a highway.
I think Kralex was also good. Swiss mountain views, he said, or
Okay, we'll do that
yeah,
as well.
like realistic or scenic.
Oh, the forest is cool. The zombies might be.
I saw a zombie.
One zombie, whoop-de-doo.
What's that on the pathway there, Pete? That's 2 zombies.
It takes one
So
zombie to
three
kill, mate. How many zombies do you want?
You gotta stare a bit more. You see them in the background.
What was the other one? You said Red Pill? Swiss Alps or something?
The Swiss mountain range.
Yeah, Swiss mountain views. That was from Kralex.
Okay.
I haven't tried mountains, so that interested what that looks like. Maybe scenic. Scenic or realistic, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Go back up. Oops. I was trying to find it. Realistic, yep. Okay. So, Swiss mountain view.
Now you're going to get a mountain view speaking Swiss, not the Swiss Alps.
Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese mountains, that'd be cool. If I did surreal, that's probably what I'd get. Bird noise fits in well with this enchanted forest.
I feel like zombie noises would do better.
Jesus. The scale of
Yo,
that.
that is one high mountain.
The scale freaked me out a bit. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I was expecting you on top of the mountain, but you're just like at the bottom.
You have to look really high to see it.
Does that only work for looking down, or what if you look up? Would that also reflect, the sky?
Kind of. It's on a bit of a weird angle, actually. That one was too effective. I think it's frozen on me now, is it?
Like raining geckos
Yeah,
or something, and then geckos would be falling from the sky?
You have to be inside the thing to get that sky, the sense of depth.
You can't.
And to
I don't
feel
think
the
seeing it on
scale.
a 2D. I think on a 2D screen is very impactful either, but
Like all things with VR, when you're in there in VR, you feel the scale way better.
yeah, it's damn fun to play around with anyway. You can spend a long time just mucking around with it. It's only limited by your imagination.
And obviously, the more your apartment's opened up, the more you get to see of it.
Pineapple trees with pineapples with gecko faces.
That's just downright frightening.
That's just freaky, man.
So, as I said, that one is a little bit buggy for the AI stuff for the skybox generation, but we do have another build tonight, so hopefully that one's all okay. Tests up all right, and then we can get that out very shortly. You'll get all the other stuff, obviously, that we mentioned too. And we've done some more back end fixes on. We had some weird stability issues last Friday with the iOS version, so we've worked on that as well. So it's looking really good. We'll test that one up over the next couple of days, and then hopefully we can release that, as I said, in the very near future. I think that's it for the product side, Ben. The demo side, anyway.
Awesome. Phil or Pete, you got any updates you want to share?
For Quest, we are cycling through the dragons again. So this week on Tuesday we set the Drogodon, which was the first week. But this time, I know last time there was a border and the foils weren't minting, and a particular border that's been fixed. So if you missed it the first time, now's a good time to play. And then we'll cycle through those dragons again before we eventually consolidate them all into the same rewarding wallet. So if you want a particular pet right now, start playing.
Yeah, Phil. So I confirmed that the missing borders came out, and also foils. I've got 3 foils so far. So yeah, that works.
Now you're
I
just
know.
rubbing it
I
in,
know you
man.
haven't. Yeah, I know you haven't gotten any, but I
Now
don't want to
you're
make
just
sure
rubbing
that
it in.
it works.
Yeah. Thanks for the confirmation, man.
Good testing, Pete.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only one that's
side,
gotten 1 foils.
yeah, on the COG side, a little chicken just informed me that there might be a new crafting material coming soon. So I'll just leave it at that.
What's the name of said chicken?
Chicken.
Cluck you, man. Cluck you.
No hard feelings, people.
Anything else from your side, or Micah or Red Pill? Anything you want to share?
Luke had the fun of showing it off, so there's not much to say about it.
Oh,
The only thing is that, like I mentioned earlier, and you can see how with the apartments, the different tiers that they're in, obviously the skybox has a very big role in the sky apartment. You really, really, really get to see it because you can go out on the roof, you can step it, you can have that thing all around you. The penthouse, it's 2 sides of glass, so you get to see a lot of it, and you can rotate it to have the piece you want there. And then obviously with the standard, it's just that one window, and the studio's got the tiny little peephole. So it's cool to experience it in those different ways. That's the only thing I can say is that to add to what's being seen there, and that it is so good in VR. It's really good, and there's still a few other things we can try. This is just the first implementation of it, so there's more features we can add that make it pretty cool, and even take the customization to the next level.
And yeah, just to add,
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Just want to add that that's obviously also enabled for districts. So we don't have many districts right now. We have many like large areas to see that from, but you can see it in the template 2 at the moment if you use that feature, or if you upload a new environment that has more open areas, you can have a much better view as well. So obviously all those things we put into districts as well.
Yeah, it's really awesome how fast it's progressing, and yeah, it's amazing how quickly that's progressed. Lala, do you want to do anything? Do you want to do any updates now, or do you want to wait till the end and we can cover questions first, or do you want to do your updates?
I think my updates can be at the end, and we can just go into some community questions. We did have quite a number last week that we'll be addressing today.
Okay, sure.
All right, we'll kick it off first.
Yeah, you want to read them out one by one, and then we can answer them.
Yep. That'll be easier for everybody too. I'll just read up the first one from CJ. And it goes, I see Discord membership is now below 19,000, excluding bots. I believe it was 20K back in last November. How is the team tracking community growth or decline, measuring marketing campaigns, or attracting new users? Could someone add this to the AMA, please? So this was the first one that we got. I think I can chime in for this one. Anyone else who has any feedback based on what we've done so far can come in as well. But for me personally, we are definitely looking at a different platform when it comes to getting the community that we really want and we really need in the RFOX Vault. I think you can look at people who jump into the Vault, like Ziggy has mentioned before and Rect has mentioned before. We need more people inside the Vault. So how we're measuring most of the things is what we are doing on side quests, and it has been steadily increasing. Same goes for the type of influencers that we bring in, the type of people that we do walkthroughs. It's a totally different measurement in comparison to last year. And also it's a totally different market. It has definitely improved in how people have perceived the Vault. In terms of what we can share in future, I'll definitely put that in after we finish this quarter, because there has been so much more progress in comparison to the many quarters before in terms of what we can do, how many people have come in, and it makes more sense for us to show a whole picture of what has been done for it to be fairly seen. So yeah, that's just my take for now.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could add to that is that with Discord numbers, they fluctuate hugely. We've seen lots of sporadic number drop off and number growth based on bots and cleanups and all the rest of it as well. So, and regardless of what those numbers are, it's all about how many active people you've got in there talking and who are part of the community. That's important. But as Lala said, our shift needs to be to move everybody towards the Vault. So that's what it's for as the platform comes together and you've got more utility and you've got more ability to be able to showcase events and meetups and all the rest of it. It's definitely makes sense to push everything towards the Vault.
We are definitely getting more people coming through the Vault and more downloads, as Lala said. And I think, some of those will obviously join Discord as well. So I think that's just another way to feed back to Discord. It doesn't have to be one way either.
For sure. And I think that's where the second question, which Ziggy asked as well, is when can we expect more people in the Vault? I go to Vault almost every day, but I'm usually alone. Of course, I quickly leave after a few drinks of RFOX beer. So this is a part where I also feel that we want to do more events that are inclusive of people in the community. We have done a few. We have some weekend gatherings that, some very new guys in the community just jump in and say that, I wasn't sure who was going to be here or what's going to happen. And we had some really good conversations with these guys. So again, we encourage people to suggest what type of events you guys want us to do, as well as if you guys want to run an event, we'll be more than happy to support and get more people in, because it is definitely a two-way street in some way, shape, and form. The more that we get people in and people see how we built the community, it helps. Even with having Rect in there and Ziggy in there, when we do walkthroughs and people see them, it's quite an interesting experience because they don't expect to see someone from a totally different country to be in there and experiencing the same things that they experience. And it's been a good one. And we did our 3rd anniversary last week, and it was fun to see. Yes, there were some glitches here and there, but overall, I think everybody enjoyed themselves to see all those guys there. So that's just my
I had a
take
look
as
at
well.
that. I broke down that time frame, Lala, of
Yep.
that actual event, and I worked the numbers out, and it looks like we had about 118 people in there at once.
There you go. Jumping around.
By far, that's the most we've had, especially in that, essentially in one scene or one district. That's a pretty high number. Pretty happy with that. That's a good start. We just need to keep doing it and keep building it up, and just keep having these events. They obviously work. They bring people in. So,
yep.
We're definitely keen on doing more and more of those.
And as Ziggy said, the more events we have and the more people that we've got going in there, the more we've got an opportunity to bump into more people as we go. And we now do walkthroughs and demonstrations and stuff, and quite often, unless we're on a different track or build, the thing is that you can't really do a walkthrough without bumping into someone somewhere, especially when we're going into all the nooks and crannies. So getting more people in there is obviously really important. And then just from a data perspective, one of the really pleasing things is that if you have a look at the average amount of time that people spend on in VR sessions, for example, if you look at the US national average, and which is by far the benchmark, we're doing about 2.35 times the amount of time spent in a session at the moment. So the people that are going in there are staying in there for long periods of time, especially on the Oculus. So that's really good. And you might say, well, I'm not bumping into too many people yet, or there's not too many events yet, or whatever. So you just imagine if you extrapolate that out and you get more things to explore, more things to do, more experiences launched, the signs are definitely good, because as the guys said, the numbers are going up, and we're seeing more and more people come in each week. So that's a really good sign. It's on the right trajectory, that's for sure.
All right, on to the next question. I think this is a C11 question. I don't seem to see anyone from C11 in here. Yeah, this may be a question I need to tag them later, but the question is, which of the C11 projects is the most progressed from a development point of view, and what would be their timeline to start working the target audience or market in 6 months on average? Reasonable or too optimistic? So that is definitely a C11 question. I'll be tagging the council to that one after this AMA. All right, moving on. We have one from Roger. Can the team honestly answer a question on token utility? The drive seems to be getting items built, concentrating on revenue, driving products, but nothing on token utility. I get that keeping the project going has to be weighed up with getting products out, but this project started on the token, and should not more concentration be put on products helping token utility? Is there a concise token utility plan?
So when you're talking about token utility versus building, there's a few things, right? I just spent a couple minutes just typing out some of the things that we've talked about and discussed, so I can paste those in here in a minute. But ultimately, the thing is, for the token to have utility, you have to finish your products and your platform. And it's not a magic bullet. It takes time to build stuff out, and it takes the balance. Like when you're talking about revenue and you're talking about revenue based on products and stuff coming in, obviously a project has to be able to sustain its costs and its running costs and get to a point where it's sustainable, profitable, and it can sort of carry itself. And that's when your platform launches and you hand stuff over to your community and you're making transaction charges, plus you're also, making profit and revenue through all the different income streams. The thing is that you don't have the ability to have a ton of utility until you've got those things fully built out. But I'll post in here right now. I'll post what we've talked about in the past for the utility for those people who are new or a refresher. But that'll break down all the different utility things that we've talked about, and that we'll post that now. So those things require us, and the token utility is something that we think about all the time. Obviously, it's also important to remember from a revenue perspective and the difference between a token and a stock. A token is supposed to give you access to things that are still being built. The token access should give you the ability to purchase assets, access things that are on the platform, and give you potentially the ability to have governance as well. Stock is very, very different. Stock is you're a part owner of the company, and it works in a very, very different way. I can also post those major differences as well. But ultimately, we've always looked at the end goal being the utility, and as Lala will post in here, there's a stack of things that we can do with the token, and we have to turn that economy on. Once that economy is switched on, it's there. You can't just put parts of it in and then switch it out. People who have been around for a long time had said to us previously, why do you use Ethereum as a form of payment for previous NFT sale, for example? So what we've said is, because we're trying to get exposure to a wider audience, then people said, no, make it RFOX. So we did the next sale in RFOX, and it didn't do anywhere near as well. And then people sort of had a bit of a fit about that, saying it's too early, just finish the products, the platform, and worry about that later. You were on the right track. You should be going back to ETH. So we still continued and tried with those RFOX tokens. And then the first thing that people then turned around and said is, so if the project receives something in RFOX tokens, is it then going to sell the tokens and cause a downtrend on the market? Like, why would you be selling in RFOX? So it's always a delicate balance, and it's always hard to please everybody. But ultimately, our objective is very clear, and that is to finish our platform, to finish the products and services, to get creators and developers in, and then the economy can really kick into gear. And I think that we're showing every week that we're making huge strides as far as that's concerned. But the emphasis is 100% on finishing these products, 100%, because that is where the token utility comes in. If you don't have a finished platform and finished products, you don't have anything to access through the token. It's that simple. I don't know if you've posted that, Lala, because I'm still scrolling down the questions.
Yep, it's right at the bottom. There's a lot of examples that were given, so it's right there at the bottom.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so they're the main utility cases that we've talked about. You as a project need to keep the outside world interested. 100%, we understand that. The fact is that we are building as fast as we can to cater for the creators and the people that are going to be building on the platform. If you have a look at the progress that we're making and the strides that we're making and the people that we're onboarding, that's all we're focused on, is trying to make sure that people have the ability to create content which will bring in users. If you just expect to bring in tons of users with no content, it's the same mistake that everybody else is making, and you're just going to bash your head against the wall because you're going to have these large expansive spaces and nobody in them. So the really important thing is to get the content created, and to get the content created, you have to finish the products and the tools. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good the utility of the token is, and I'm not going to name names, but it's pretty obvious that there are people who have gone down a different route and have tried to go A, for hype, or B, to build something really, really extensive out that isn't finished, doesn't really work, and it doesn't matter how much people see the utility of the token, they can't use it for anything, or it's not getting used because there's nothing to use it on. So it's a balance of making sure that those two things come together. And I think it's pretty clear that that's what has to happen, and it is what we're focused on.
as we said, we are getting those users in. They are coming into the Vault. I know it seems slow, but it is happening. And for us, looking at the numbers, we can see the pattern, and it is growing. Just since that event last Friday, we've had nearly 180 new people join. So, as I said before, that shows the importance of these events, but it also shows that if you build it, they will come. We just got to keep doing that. We're going to keep sticking at the plan and keep building it out, and we will get the users. They are coming.
It's a matter of like we said, they're spending nearly 2.5 times as long as the average for VR in a virtual world. So, and that's without having a lot of stuff there. And the thing is that we've got content creators waiting to deploy or to start to really execute their build out. And you've got, as Luke said, you run an event and you get another couple of hundred people come and join the platform. You need things for those guys to do. You need those events to happen. So our job was always to sort of build a product showcase, never ever intended for us to have the best product, as we said, like as far as the best game or the best experience. Our job is to say, this is an example of what can be executed using our tools and the platform, and then to have people that come along and do that stuff as a focused living to really come in and showcase what they can do using the tools and the combinations. Now, if you take what we're introducing on a weekly basis, give that to the right people, it's pretty scary what they'll be able to create. So the rush for us is to make sure that we've got all of those tools readily accessible to those creators and developers that are wanting to come in and build. And we're starting, as I said, it's changed a lot over the last 6 months to a year. We were sort of trying to door knock and see if we could get people to come in and show an interest. And now we're also getting a large contingency of people coming across from other worlds, which is really a very, very encouraging sign for us. And it puts that rocket up our ass as well to hurry up and finish those tools, because the creators need the tools to be able to deploy. And if we can make it easy, simple, fast, effective, and cheaper for them to deploy, and we're showing steady growth in our user numbers, that's a pretty potent combination. Then that's where the utility really comes in.
Alrighty, so on to the next question, which is from George. Are YGG as Marquee still in the district in Vault? Guess with Slam and Quest there could there be a connection again? I'm not sure who could answer this actually.
I can. So yeah, that would be a yes, of course. So the thing with, and I'm not just signaling out YGG, I'm talking about everybody, all and sundry. Again, we have to complete the UI, the tools. Luke can probably add some more context, or Red Pill. But ultimately, the thing is that we've done some things. I don't know how far you want to go into this, Luke, so I'll just try and, I'm deliberately doing it at a very high level. When we were integrating certain things that are in there at the moment, we didn't have or couldn't have completed certain tools yet, which made those things a little harder to manage, right? And what I mean by that is, if people come along and say, can you please help us build something, or we want to build something, and we say we have to help you build it because the self-serve sort of toolkits are not available to you just yet, then we're kind of having to build it a long way around, and it's harder to manage. So what we're really trying to do is make sure that we finish those tools to make it, as we've said for many, many years now, our end goal is not to have like an inbox of tickets and people saying, hey, can you build me this type of world and can you build me that? I don't really know how to do that. What we want to be able to do is say, look, it's really simple. Go in there, use your voice or text, tell it what you want it to create, and it will create that environment for you or those assets for you. That's the end goal. And what we should be doing from our perspective and our side is maintaining a stable platform, making sure that the thing stays up, that we're not having to fiddle with it all the time, and maintaining the core areas of the Vault. The districts and those personalized the personal areas like the apartments, those spaces will be built by the creators, developers, you guys. And our goal, very clearly, is to make it so that any one of you guys has the ability to be a creator or a slash developer without having to understand code, without having to need massive teams. So if you want to launch a brand, a product, a project, you've got an idea, people, you've already seen it happen now. Our job is to make it so that people like myself are able to go in there and go, I've got a cool idea, and just deploy it. So in answer to your question in relation to marquee clients as well, is a lot of people we speak to, they want you to build out stuff that's quite complex. They see the opportunity, they see the ideas flowing, they say, wow, is this possible? Is this possible? What we can't have is our team being pulled in directions that takes us away from our focus of finishing these, the platform and the tools, because that means that everybody has to wait longer for the final product. So we're trying to balance that very carefully, and we're learning to say no a lot more than we do say yes. But I think we're getting to a much happier place now as far as being able to build in the process. Luke or Redfield, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah,
I deliberately tried to stay good because I don't know what I'm supposed to say as far as how deep.
It's good. I just think we probably overcorrected a bit with some of this stuff as well. So I think we overestimated how important it is for all of these districts to be built out in a certain way. So we kind of imagine that everyone would want to build a game or a really complex experience, but what we're finding is, of course, that is a thing, and people do want to do that, but that's not what everybody wants to do. And a lot of the potential partners we're talking to at the moment are quite happy with the templates that are there. They just want to use them for a particular purpose. So I mean, that DJ event is a good example. That's a template that already exists. It's already there, already available, with just some tweaking done to it. It's just, the DJ booth and the lighting, but it was a really cool space to be. And when that's populated with people, it doesn't have to be a game. I had more fun in there than I had, probably had in some of the games in the past as well. So I don't think it's necessarily like we don't have to rebuild every single district from scratch and make it into something completely new. I think there'll be a lot of middle ground there, and as Ben said, with these AI tools, being able to customize these spaces and theme them for these brands and everything, you can do a lot without having to actually go out and use that that SDK, that developer kit anyway. But we're trying to do both at once, and I think that is the right approach, and that's kind of how we've corrected. When I said we overcorrected before, I think what we've done is actually adjust our approach a bit so that we can do some of this customization on the fly. We can really quickly modify these scenes and make them suitable for basically for anybody as either a one-off or a short-term space. And that will obviously allow events to happen and get people in. But then at the same time, we're adding to the SDK. So in the next couple of months, we'll have a scripting option in the SDK. So you'll be able to create events and do some more mechanic type stuff to the scene, so they won't be so basic and static. So doing those two things at once will allow us to cover some of these bases and get some of these creators in and some of these scenes built. And then in the background, we can just keep building that out and expanding it. But we had to start somewhere, and we're just trying to get that balance right. It's actually really quite difficult to get it right, but I think we're definitely on the right track now.
Made a really interesting point there as well. The thing is, if we want to be honest and hand on heart, the one thing we have got right is, and I have absolutely no doubt about that, is the way that we've built, the scalability, the fact that we chose to go VR first. There's a lot of ticks in a lot of boxes, and we anticipated that people would want to do a number of certain things in the Vault. And what we've learned over the course of time is that giving people the tools and giving people the access and giving people the ability to build is 100% the right thing. The way we've built is 100% the right way. But what we've also learned is this space is evolving really quickly. It's moving really fast. And the one thing is, if we try and predict exactly what people want to do in those districts, we'll come unstuck pretty quickly. We've got to give people the flexibility and the ability to do what it is that they want to do. And some of those people's ideas will spectacularly fail. Some of them will be groundbreaking and become trends. But the thing is, the quicker we can sort of say, here's the platform, it's stable, here's the tools, and here's the access, and then step out of the way, that's the best that we can possibly do. And when I say step out of the way, what I mean is, as stated, support, maintenance, and all the rest of it is what we're going to be then doing. But ultimately, that's what we've been building toward for all these years. But the real creativity, the real drive, and the real innovation in those spaces will come from the creators and the developers that come in and say, I know how to build something, or I've got an idea. But what we're noticing right now is that a lot of the people that we're dealing with, or companies or tools or products or whatever, is that the time, so this is a real big kudos to the tech team, the amount of time that it takes for them to implement one of those things and trial it and see whether it really works. We've got a very, very distinct advantage, because within a few days we can get one of these tools in and we can tell whether it's bark or bite. We can tell whether it actually works, whether it's being maintained, supported. And that's going to provide tremendous value to tool makers, because they're door knocking, trying to get people to use their tools. We can just say, bang, here it is in the vault. Do people like it? Don't people like it? It's a very distinct advantage. Luke or Red Pill, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I think you covered it pretty well. Yeah, I mean, just in general with platforms, it's always a bit of a chicken and egg problem that you're trying to solve, because you don't get many creators if you don't have many users. So you gotta basically kickstart it, and that's what we've been doing with building the platform to a level where you can already have experiences and do things, let's say with AI tools and so on, that you can, or Fear or Slam and all those things that you can basically experience, and we can get some end users through that. And eventually, if we allow that to those creators as well, we will eventually hit a certain inflection point where the growth is just going to be more and more, and then more creators will pile on, basically, or that's how usually those kind of platforms work. And especially with the AI stuff, we're basically opening up a completely new type of creator that was not even a creator before. Like, AI creators just need text to create anything, basically, and prompt engineers and all those things that haven't been here before. So by having several types of creators, this also makes it even more broad, the whole markets that we're targeting. So yeah, I think you guys covered it, but yeah, those were my points.
Benny, can I just also add that companies like YGG also have to go back to the drawing board and reconsider the things they had planned to build, because their businesses have changed during that time as well. Like, YGG was originally, a scholarship-based program, but because of the current market, they can no longer do that. So now they're a marketing company, basically. So they have to go back and reconsider all the plans they had originally.
Yeah, 100%. And as you've said many times before, and I'll just remind the people that weren't here for that, you're talking to companies as well, we all are, and they come in and they say, hi, for example, I want to do a retail space. And you'd say, okay. And you walk them through what we've got, you give them a demo and all the rest of it. And by the time you finish the meeting, they're saying, oh, I want to do a digital collection then, and I want to do this, and then I want to do education part, and but their ideas start flowing, but they're talking about mini games and all the rest of it. So they come in asking for something based on what they've read or know, and then they come in and find out what's potentially possible, and then they start saying, I'm going to have to rethink what I'm asking you for because this is more expansive than I thought it was. And don't forget, if people like those of you who are in here tonight that are not really overly creative or not developers, but you've got good ideas, if you can come in and as easily create environments like Luke just showed you at the beginning, customize areas, set up pop-up retail spaces or events, then people that were doing events before or people that were doing those customizations, they're going to have to get a little bit more creative because it's become far easier to reach the same types of levels that 2 years ago weren't possible unless you hired someone for an exorbitant amount of money and time to build stuff for you. So like what Luke just showed you then, you know, a year or 2 years ago would have just cracked people's skulls open and people wouldn't have believed it. And now we're seeing this develop at such a frightening rate that it's hard for us to even fathom 6 months from now what's going to be possible. But the great part about it is we're at the edge, we're at the point and the juncture of where we can turn around and say, whatever comes, we can now click it in pretty quickly as well. So that's pretty exciting. And as far as the ongoing question of Satoshi Skies of when does the RFOX economy turn on? So we're working on how to make sure that we don't have to throw something together, put it out, and then turn around a week later and go, oh, no, that's not going to work. That's not to say that there won't be changes or bit parts introduced, but obviously we're looking at a broader economy piece that ties in for what we're about to release. So there's a couple of things that we're about to release which are huge pieces for our company and for us going forwards that we haven't actually talked to you guys about that that will be major revenue drivers, utility drivers, and will help form part of the backbone of what we do. So it's pretty exciting, and the economy has to tie into all of that. So we've got a very familiar, robust type of model that we'll be introducing that there's not many people on the planet that wouldn't understand the model. So yeah, it's being worked on now, and we're working in sprints, as Luke's mentioned many times before, in dedicated sprints to finishing certain goals in each sprint cycle. We've just started another one now, and then we come back and say, right, once those pieces are finished, then we move towards the next. But it's full steam towards delivering the promises that we've already gone out with, which is the apartments and the citizens, and then it's making sure that we finish the UI for the portals and the APIs and SDKs so that we can really just say, right, go, floodgates open. We have to provide minimal support, and away you go. So it's close. It's getting closer all the time. It's closer as it's ever been.
Alrighty. So last question from last week is from Jay Charles. And he mentioned, could I please ask Benny's thoughts on the above clip? This type of e-commerce was spoken about over a year ago by RFOX, and it looks like the industry is moving fast. Does RFOX have a strategy moving forward?
Yeah, so we talked about this a while back, talking about how there was a lot of clever people trying to work out how e-commerce would transition to the metaverse, and we think we've got a pretty good idea of where that will go. But to what Phil was just saying a minute ago about like YGG having to change their business, everybody's having to look and change the way things are done. But the way we're consuming content and the way that AI is changing things and the way that metaverses will change things regardless of what people's opinion of the platforms are at the moment. And it's hard to have a solid opinion or an informed opinion on metaverse platforms if none of them are really finished yet and have gained mainstream adoption. So the metaverse had really thrown that spanner into the works. So the way that we were originally looking at it was more app-based. That's kind of tired, and a model that is now will transition into the metaverse. So we've talked about being able to broadcast content out from the Vault, creating that using normal traditional mediums or through avatars, etc. But now with AI, as you've seen what Luke just showed you, we talked about a year ago, for those of you who were around, you would remember this, we were talking about, Post Malone could do a concert and you could sell background marketing or advertising that could be interchangeable between songs. You could bid on that sort of stuff. People sort of, I remember a year ago or so, people were saying, but you'd have to have all of that prefabbed. How could you do that so quickly? Luke's just showing you an example of how AI has made it possible to change background setup structures or whatever in relatively real time. So the way e-commerce will transition into metaverses will definitely become part of its fabric for sure. And let's be honest, no one will know how to get that right straight away. People thought that, you have a look at, there was about 2 or 3 companies that hit $500 million valuations that were doing billboards in virtual worlds. If you remember in the last cycle, they thought that was going to be the hallowed ground and that would be the next big thing. Now people are sort of saying, if I go into one of those worlds, I want to have something that's balanced or targeted or something that's more tailored to me. So it's changing very, very quickly, and firmly believe that influencers and creators will be able to broadcast content from a metaverse to traditional channels, and use AI to their advantage and use the technology to be able to, as I say, transition out of outfits, backgrounds. There's so many things that they'll be able to do. So I think metaverses will kind of help to shape the way that e-commerce is digested on these virtual platforms. And we definitely will have the tools to do it. I think that we're just more inclined, instead of us having to bring out all of that stuff, it'll be more sort of saying, here's the tools, and the creators and those influencers can do it themselves.
All right. I believe that's all the questions that we had from last week.
Awesome. I think you were going to do your updates, Lala.
An update and also a giveaway. So I'm sure those who are playing KOGs Quest know that there was a leaderboard challenge a couple of weeks back. We couldn't do the drawing last week because we didn't have an AMA, so we'll do it today. And I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do a very simple grub game. We haven't done one in a while. So let me just share here. If your name is on there, may the odds be in your favor as usual. So these are the list of names of those who were the top 10, technically. And yep.
Wait. My name's not
Yeah.
Just to clarify that, it's actually
11.
Top 11 because we took everyone from the in-game leaderboards and then added anyone in the top 10 that had a problem with their name appearing in the game.
I'm not on there.
Which is really
Lala, the first 3 people need to be split up because you got them all in one line.
There we go.
Well, I had no idea where I was at to even work on my score, not being able to see it. So what the heck?
You were the one we added, man. Don't worry.
There we go. 11 altogether. So the giveaway goes, the top trio, the last 3 critters to survive will get something. And yeah, let's start it off. Let's go. What are the chances of Madame and XP?
No, Madame,
XP
die,
goes
Madame.
first. Yep. Oh, damn it. I thought I was going to get XP.
No,
Damn,
XP
XP just ran away.
is like really lucky with grub games. You don't realize that he's always like the last couple of grubs.
No. Cancel his
I don't know
luck.
what you're talking
You'll
about.
die on the next
Oh,
one.
well, that's a new one. I didn't know that existed.
Oh, he's going to blow up. Done. It's done.
Oh no.
Who's he taking with him?
He blew up with somebody.
Oh,
He blew up somebody together.
Gecko called it.
Oh my god, Gecko. This is scary.
Spontaneous
I'm
corruption.
driving my truck to South Africa.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Madame. Rigged.
Yeah, she was riding her invisible horse again through Peasantville, looking down on everyone.
Long live the queen.
There we go. Congratulations. We will definitely be doing more leaderboard stuff in the very, very near future. And just a gentle reminder, we have our Chips of the Year Virgo on sale right now. Of course, if you want your low mints, now is the right time to get them before it is open for crafting. We will have another weekly community event in Vault as usual. However, if any of you guys want to do a particular hosting event or you want me to walk you guys through the Vault, please do tag me, because I do know some people needed some assistance to get into the Vault, understand a little bit more about the dashboards. I'm more than happy to assist anyone who needs that as well. And if it requires a little bit of screen sharing and hand-holding in Discord and the support channel, I'm more than happy to do that. So I just want to make sure that our community members are actively part of the Vault in some way, shape, or form, so everyone knows what's happening all the time. Stay tuned for the next update. I believe Luke mentioned it would be hopefully next week. And when that happens, we will do another round of testing and hopefully another round of games and prizes with everybody here. Yes.
Yeah, and just on that, as we said, we've got a lot more people coming into the Vault, so really important that you're jumping back in there, because we talk about utility, users, value, all the rest of it. It's up to you guys as well, right? Us as a project, we build, put stuff out there, but we need you guys to go in there and talk to the new people, welcome new people in there. As we get more and more people, that becomes more important, and then it's pretty much a self-fulfilling prophecy after that. So just if you do have a group of mates and you want to do a hangout or a mini event or something like that, this is the right time to do it, because it helps us to test stuff as well. But it's a good opportunity to sort of get in there and feel as though the place is yours. So reach out to Lala and the team if you want to do something like that. As she said, it's just important that we get in there and help build some momentum around this, because we are seeing those numbers go in the right direction, and we want to make sure that it keeps doing that. So thank you very much for your time, for attending tonight, and for all the questions. Appreciate that, and have an awesome week.
Thanks everybody for joining. See
Thanks,
ya.
everyone. Stay safe. Take care.
Yes,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.